Kia ora, nice to meet you. Look, we've even got a blue wall. That's how.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I've watched you on telly over many, many years.
Oh, have a seat.
Well, look, it's a great honour to be with you. As I said to you, I remember you as a kid coming through watching all your music videos.
As a kid, stop there. Okay, you're already offside. If you're Prime Minister, you're going to make critical decisions about Māori and where we are. What, in your experience, apart from your role at Air New Zealand, will help inform your decisions?
Well, I think a lot of, the values of just trying to understand people who are different from you and to be able to walk across a room and actually listen and engage.
Are you listening and engaging though?
Yeah, yes, I am. And I think, that's what I have learned is actually everything starts with a relationship first and foremost. And from there you can talk about the what, but actually you have to have that relationship in place to be able to have those conversations, to be able to learn, but also to be able to engage.
So what is the drama around the issue of co-governance? What does co-governance mean to you?
I've got a couple of it. We've had co-governance in a past national government that's been bounded around treaty claims and really around iwi, managing local natural resources, essentially, working with local government, central government. What we now seem to be talking about is co-governance with respect to the delivery of public services. And our issue, or my issue, is sort of more, I believe, a single system with innovation and components around it, targeting people on the basis of need, partnering through devolution and through localism with iwi, with local government, can actually get better outcomes. And our party, we're really obsessed on outcomes. And when you look at polls, what are the number one, number two issues for Māori? The same issues: cost of living, housing, those sorts of issues.
Yes, so do you believe that current systems are working for Māori?
No, I don't believe. I think we're constructively dissatisfied. The results and the outcomes are not the same for Māori and non-Māori.
Okay. So do you believe it's at a critical stage where we need critical solutions?
Yes, and the way I would go about it is to have a single healthcare system, and there is mechanics and innovation that we can create within it. A good example for me would be the COVID story, right? Initially, the government said, we'll just run everything centrally, thank you very much, from Wellington. And it wasn't until they engaged with Chinese communities, with language issues to get vaccination rates up, the same happened with Māori Pacifica, that we were able to use local community organisations to get to those communities.
So you're talking about service delivery. Is it Māori health in such crisis that we do need to pile more money in and actually be very brave and bold in our thinking?
Yeah, and all we're going to do is we're going to amalgamate, centralise and build a massive bureaucracy that will end up competing with Health New Zealand, and as a result...
No, we're not. No, that's misinformation.
No,
that's misinformation.
I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think that's the way to deliver
you're
health
into
outcome for Māori. I'm focused on outcomes.
You're into an assimilationist model. You want the one system that you suggest will work for everybody. In the last 40 years, there have been massive attempts to address inequities within the health system. Since 2000, there was like 220 billion thrown at it. Everybody, all the experts, the Heather Simpson report, the Māori Health Advisory Group, the Waitangi Tribunal with its interim recommendation, they all say we need an independent Māori authority that will work in a certain way. Yeah. Why do you not trust expert advice?
No, because I think we'll end up creating a massive amount of bureaucracy.
Do you trust Māori to come up with solutions?
Absolutely.
So why are you not listening to Māori?
And that's what we could do, like in terms of a single healthcare system with a Māori Health Directorate within the Ministry of Health. We could have iwi partnership boards that actually work very well.
Chris, I used to work in health.
Yes.
I was a National Māori Smoke-Free Coordinator. There was a Māori Directorate in there. They struggled in there. This is well documented.
Yeah, so why don't we make it more efficient and more effective?
Because everybody's tried for the last 40 years.
Yeah, but look what's happened in the last 4 years. We've removed all healthcare targets out of the system.
You guys like to chop things back, tax and strip it back.
No, I think that's a bit unfair.
You've got the Māori Health Authority, you've got Health New Zealand. They co-commission community and primary services and
you don't think there'll be a lot of conflict, complexity?
Why would there be? They've got the co-chair on this body is sitting on that one. If anything, it's going to be streamlined and focused. I mean, why don't we try something bold and different?
Yeah, so what I'd love us to try is to properly implement social investment, where we actually target people and support people on the basis of need. We're not doing that.
The former Treaty Settlements Minister,
Christopher Luxon.
Yes, Chris Luxon told our show that we need to reappraise the relationship between kāwanatanga and rangatiratanga. What does the treaty mean to you? What does that reappraisal of kāwanatanga and rangatiratanga, what does that look like in action to you?
Well, for me, what it means is that we are first and foremost one sovereign state, you know. Secondarily, yes, rangatiratanga, we want to be able to see devolution and localism where iwi have control over, you know, as we've seen in treaty settlements, local resources. I think those are good models. Healthcare, education, there is components, as I said, within the single system that's quite possible where there is actually really good influence over Māori for Māori outcomes. That's great. We're very supportive of all of that. And then finally, all of us are fully equal under the law in New Zealand. And so
do
that's
you
our
understand the difference between equal and equity, though?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So the treaty, te tiriti, is all about co-governance. It is the ultimate co-governance model. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think the treaty's been very good for New Zealand. I think it's made us a much better, tolerant, open country as we've tried to work out what it means. But there are different interpretations of it and there are different understandings of it. We're not aligned in a common understanding of that. And that's why I think the government should make a case for what is co-governance and where are we going with it. In New Zealand's history, whether it's been national or Labour governments, something like treaty settlements, everybody said, "Hey, listen, we're on board with that. That sounds great. You know, we need to try and address wrongs from the past, as imperfect as it has been, but that's a good thing that's taken New Zealand people on that journey. We haven't done that here on co-governance, right? I appreciate in Māoridom there might be a really good understanding and literacy around what we're actually going, you know, what it's about and where it may be going to. But that's not clear to everybody in New Zealand. That's not fair, right?
You're not helping. You're not helping with that conversation because you're using words like separatism.
I'm not.
You have used words like separatism.
I'm saying to you, two systems doesn't work for us, right? I'm saying to you, I think a single system that can really target people on the basis of need, partner with different community organisations, different businesses, working together to deliver those outcomes is important.
This system is seen by many Māori as hugely separatist. There are barriers to access to advice and care. It is one system which is not designed by and for Māori.
But you can create components within it, right?
We've had components.
But we could do it better.
So can I just ask you, like, genuinely, do you think that it's feasible that Māori would have ceded sovereignty?
Well, I think we are one sovereign country, Article 1 of the treaty. You know, that's what that's about.
Te tiriti.
Of the treaty.
Te tiriti. What is in te tiriti?
Well, we have different interpretations.
No, what is in te tiriti?
Well, what I'm saying to you is I think that, you know, I'm looking at the articles going, first article is really about ceding sovereignty, that we're one country. Second article is about rangatiratanga, that people can have...
So you're talking about the English text that was signed by about 50 people. Do you think that Māori, who have been in the majority, having the conversation in Māori, would have said, here?
So why don't we have a government that comes out and gives us a common understanding then, if that's the case?
It's all through the
New Zealanders.
Tribunal research.
But why don't we make it clear to 5 million New Zealanders, if that's the case, that what is the government's interpretation of the treaty and co-governance and where that's all going?
Chris, you often say that what we need is an intelligent conversation around co-governance and even the UN UNDRIP. So that was signed in 2010. Did John Key drop the ball because he never had a conversation with the public about that?
No, I think it was a really good thing to do and we support that. But the UNDRIP thing didn't mean that the logical conclusion was hapuapua. It was left to individual countries to act with their own discretion as to what that could mean for them.
Hapuapua is just a discussion
document.
No,
but these two issues have got linked because hapuapua... But again, the government wasn't clear about that, right?
But Hapuapua is just a discussion document that lays out a spectrum of answers.
Absolutely, so that's how it was presented after the document was, you know, revealed as to what it was.
But now we know.
Well, we do, so we're going to find out what it all means eventually. But again, the government should be proactive and spend its large political capital, make the case and take the New Zealand people with them on the journey they want to go on.
Are there any Māori politicians in the other parties that you kind of get on with all right?
I get on with a number of them. I tried to, you know, my old life, I know the other side of politics and all those politicians really well because I worked with everybody, obviously. And so, you know, I admire Calvin Davis, I admire Willie Jackson. You know, I found them really good people, honourable people. They have their point of view, they throw their punches, but at a personal level, I found them really good. And it's the fact, and I think that's really special about New Zealand politics, is that politicians run into each other all the time. We're highly accessible to the public, and we're highly accessible to each other.
It's quite special, isn't it?
It's really special, and we've got to keep the civility in our politics. So you and I can disagree without being disagreeable, and also find a way to be able to maintain relationship. And I think that's the great thing about New Zealand politics, and that's what I don't want to see change. I want to be able to, as my grandmother say, disagree without being disagreeable. So.
Well, all the best for as you head into the election.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show and engaging with me. I appreciate it.